Welcome back, everyone. We're going to look at Sirsasana A, or headstand. So the classical version of headstand, I got a lot of questions on how do we actually enter, and I'm a big proponent of not jumping into our headstand. I want to find a way that I can come up with control and with a nice measure that I can feel where my body is in space over time, so that you can always feel confident in any class that you go, that you can take these steps to enter into your headstand. When we're practicing this, we will go through 8 steps that you can follow every time. Anytime when you do a yoga class or you're just practicing by yourself, you can use these 8 steps. And wherever you're at, that is the place that you want to work on or stay until over time you become more confident and you get used to the practice and you can actually go in with control into our inversion, into our headstand. Because I'm never really concerned that you will get heavily injured when jumping. It's really lack of control. A lot of times it's just we put too much haste inside because we want to get that end result. We want to be upside down, and actually it will hold us back in our process to actually get good at getting into inversions, and not only to have this headstand that we will show now, but also different variations of headstand that I will cover in the next videos. Same thing counts for when we work with a wall. We still want to use the wall while doing these 8 steps of getting into our headstand. So when we use the wall, again, we don't kick up against the wall. You will train yourself bad habits that are hard to rewire after when you want to do it in the proper way. A lot of times I will see people that have the head placed wrong. They will stand with almost a back bend against the wall, and then they think they have their headstand, but if they would try this in a class or freestanding in an open space, they will have a big chance of just falling, and maybe also, if the classes are busy, hitting another person, right? So we always want to find control in what we do, which will also give us confidence again, and being able to, when we have a busy class, that we feel with ease we can do our headstand without being afraid to fall. All right, so what are these 8 steps? Well, we're starting by measuring simply the distance for the elbows. Now, I've seen many times people talking about grabbing the width of the elbows. Actually, the best way is to grab towards the triceps on the way down. We want to make that triangle of our arms a little bit smaller. When we have grabbed the distance of our triceps, in that place we press the elbows down and we bring the hands together. Now, when I grab the hands together, I don't like to have my 2 pinkies crossing. What I usually do is keep the pinkies separated so both of them are down onto the floor. And not that it is wrong to keep the pinkies crossed. I've just seen with some people that sometimes the little bones of the pinky, when they're pressing too much or they're there, that they give a little bit of bone pressure as the fingers squeeze together. So it's just sometimes a little bit better and gives you just a little bit more surface of the hand to have both pinkies down onto the floor as we wrap the arms around the head. All right. So we have established our triceps distance, the hands that come together, the pinkies stay separated, and we place the hands down. Then we want to place the top of our head down. Now, I want you to know that there's one spot that is ideal to place your head down, and that is the part I would always suggest you to use. And it's a little bit like I've seen people using fingers, like maybe it's this distance, and maybe you have bigger hands and it does not really cooperate with you. What I want you to think of is if you would see the big headphones that people wear on their head, that line in the center of your head that goes down towards your ears, that part of your head is what is down onto the floor. We want to create as much as a straight line with our body as we come up, and we don't want to stay on our forehead or any other position here that makes our head go more back as we stand maybe onto the top, which gives a little bit of a weird curve into our neck as we are standing upside down. Now again, you will not directly injure yourself, but over time it will become uncomfortable. You may get some neck pain over time. But also it's hard for your body to stay in a straight line if the head is not in the correct position. We see this also with different practices like handstands or everything. Where we look is where the body goes. So we want to have our neck towards our spine in a nice straight line, as good as we can get it, right? Another good way to check it for yourself is actually to maybe place a phone when you're doing this practice with me, to film yourself and to check how your line is, so you can also have the feeling of adjusting it by yourself if you don't have a teacher to help you into classes. So if you practice this by yourself, a good rule of thumb is to film yourself when you're doing these steps. All right, now we're going to continue. So we're going to put ourselves into our spot onto our mat. And we have the elbows down, we measure the distance between the triceps, place the hands down, cup the hands, press through the shoulders here. So we're going to push out. I'm going to place the top of my head down and the thumbs and the fingers just slightly cup the back of my head. And to place the crown of my head down, press through the shoulders. Then from here, I'm going to lift my hips up. Now, the second thing that I want to do is to start to walk my feet in closer so that my hips start to come above my shoulders. And here, a lot of times I see the temptation that people start to hop and do different things to jump up. Try to bring concentration and awareness in. Don't sink through the shoulders, press through the elbows, walk the feet in closer, and just start by one knee at a time to squeeze the heel towards the buttocks, squeeze the thigh towards the chest, and then maybe one, maybe two. Now I'm going a little bit faster because we're just going to go through the complete sequence. The second part after this is to start to bring your knees up. So don't extend the legs, start to bring your knees up to the height of the hips. And then when they're up, we slowly start to extend the legs up. We point the toes and we have a nice long line. As you can hear, I'm upside down. I can easily keep talking. And then we're here into our Sirsasana A. The way we come out is the same thing. I start to bend from the knees to bring the heels towards my buttocks. Slowly start to compress the knees back towards my chest. And then maybe one foot at a time down. As I bring myself onto my knees. And as usually after a child's pose, maybe after a headstand, we take a child's pose. And then we come back up. Now, these are the full alignment of steps that I teach to my students to get into their headstand. This gives way more control. You feel safe, and once you get that fully straight line, you actually feel confident and safe because it feels very light. There's not a lot of core engagement. You are just in a nice straight line. You can point your toes, still have your legs quite active. If you still feel unstable, yes, the core will engage to keep yourself nice and straight. And then every time feel that when it's too much, that you have enough energy to still come down with control out of your headstand. So don't just flop and fall down. Every step that we do, from going up to going down, we want to bring control into our body. This is the main focus that I teach when we go through more intermediate or more advanced postures. We want not to raise, or as one of my teachers like to call it, is to steal the pose. Because we're so obsessed with the final result that we don't bring too much awareness to our foundation. The foundation of what we do is everything. No foundation, you will never get that solid headstand. And also when we don't have that solid foundation, the other variations and the more difficult versions you sometimes see will become impossible to do and take you much longer. So rather go through the process, take these steps, build control and confidence with your headstand, and then we can try eventually the other versions together as well. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you guys.